Welcome to Biz Stories Shared, where storytellers share their inspiration, motivation, some disappointments, and how they applied the lessons that led them to success. Stories are gifts. Listen as these gifts are shared. Now, here is your host, Charlotte Plott.
Hello, storytellers. This is Charlotte Plott, and I am thrilled to bring you our guest today, Winnie Anderson. Winnie, are you ready to be a storyteller?
I certainly am, Charlotte.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. And I want to tell our listeners a little bit about you. Winnie Anderson is an award-winning brand strategist, a best-selling author, a business development strategist, and an instructor. When she received snarky responses to a tech question she had posed to a LinkedIn group, she decided to create a podcast to help others like her, corporate escapees who were running growing consulting, coaching, and service-based businesses who are confused, frustrated, and overwhelmed by the technology needed to do it. Let's Talk Tech landed in News and Noteworthy for all of iTunes within an hour of its official launch and ended up in New and Noteworthy in 3 categories and stayed there every day for 8 straight weeks. Introverted entrepreneurs who hate selling study with and consult with her when they are ready to stand out from the competition and to step into their role as an authority in their industry and maximize their revenue. Her knowledge of what influences and motivates behaviors comes from her formal education, degrees in education and human resource, additional graduate work in psychology and counseling, and multiple certifications along with work experience in human resources, sales, and marketing. She teaches courses on planning and launching a unique podcast. She leads the Conference Builder series, which is a monthly training series focused on supporting consultants, coaches, and licensed professionals in growing their confidence so they can get out of their own way and address the emotional baggage they have that's holding them back. Her book, Strategic Podcasting, is due out in the 4th quarter of 2016. Good for you, Winnie. Winnie lives with her husband and 3 rescue cats in the Buffalo, Niagara region. When she's not working on writing, she's busy dusting her large collection of Sherlock Holmes memorabilia. Well, Winnie, first, I just want to say congratulations on your success with your podcast.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
I know you have achieved a big success and you are still growing. Now, will you take a minute and tell us more about you personally, as we want to get to know you better, and then give us an overview of your business?
Okay. Well, I don't know why, but other people tend to see me as a tech guru, and I guess that's only because I'm one step ahead of them. So I do spend a lot of time online working, writing, and networking with other people, and that has given me a little bit more experience than some people around technology, but I don't consider myself a tech guru. I think my show is one thing that makes my show accessible for people is the fact that I'm really just like them, and I'm asking the questions, hopefully, that they want to hear, that they want the answers to. So I spend most of my time working, and when I used to live in New Jersey, which a few years ago I moved to join my husband, I was an avid gardener, and we're still big bird watchers. So we do our best to turn our yard into a bird sanctuary and wildlife area where they can safely come and eat from our feeders and dance in our bird baths.
Oh, wonderful. When you were describing yourself, you said you didn't consider yourself a tech guru. I've heard this description of a subject matter expert. So maybe you'd like that title, because the subject matter expert is one who knows just a little bit more than his audience.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably a better mantle, I think, that I would at least feel more comfortable with.
Well, good. And sometime I'd like to see a picture of your backyard. It sounds beautiful.
Well, and I'll have to post one. I'll post some from from our home in Jersey, which was
Oh.
just a gigantic garden. It was certified as a national wildlife or a wildlife preserve habitat, a backyard
Really?
habitat by the National Wildlife Foundation. It's not as hard as it sounds. And it was on the garden tour back home in Jersey.
Oh, how exciting. Well, good for you. And
Thanks.
that is a love that makes your whole area beautiful, and it helps those little birdies too.
I think so. It's very relaxing.
I bet it is. I don't find yard work for me relaxing. So, well, Winnie, we start every show with our guest's favorite quote. So what's your favorite quote, and how do you apply this to your everyday thinking?
I think probably my most favorite quote is, "Be the change that you want to see in the world."
Oh, that's a good one.
So I try to, that's attributed to Gandhi. And
Yes.
I try very hard to stay focused on my beliefs and values and to create a business life that is consistent with those beliefs and values.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that is a very favorite quote of mine too. So thank you for saying that. And so would you tell us a little bit about how you want the listeners to apply that mantra to their journey?
I think that it comes down to awareness and really consciously thinking about what you have, what you want, and truly what you want to see in the world. So when we started expanding our garden back home in South Jersey, we're environmentalists. So it made sense then to create a yard that was consistent with that belief. So that meant no pesticides. It meant creating an environment that provided shade, nesting locations, and food and water for our little feathered and furry friends. So I think you can keep focused on whatever it is that you believe and just really think about, am I living this every day in my life, both in my personal life and in my business or professional life?
Well, that was a very good description of it. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
I want to just talk a little bit about your response to the snarky response that you received. It was brilliant, and it really propelled you further. And the word world needs your light. I love this quote by Aristotle, and it seems to speak of your courage. There is only way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. So what matters is that you had the courage to take action and proceed with your goals and overcome the hurdles. Would you please tell us one of the times you just didn't get the results that you set out to achieve?
Boy, I could go on for days about not getting the results I set out to achieve. I could teach a class on how not to get them. I was really frustrated and found myself to the point where I couldn't sell my way out of a paper bag. I couldn't give my services away. And it was incredibly, incredibly frustrating. What I realized as I started to try to coach myself out of the problem, I started to realize that I had some issues that were really unaddressed and from my past. And I knew that until I faced those issues and dealt with the emotional baggage that came along with them, I would continue to be stuck, underperform, be frustrated, and miserable, frankly. And what I realized was the strategies that I had adopted to deal with specifically the abuse that I survived as a child. Those strategies were very effective. They got me to survive my childhood. They got me to become a productive adult. But once I went out on my own as a self-employed professional, those same strategies were actively holding me back.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you figure this all out yourself, or did you have help?
I got to that point by myself. I figured that out myself. And then I also came to the conclusion that I needed help to really get past these. I had thought that I had already dealt with my past, but apparently I hadn't. And so I decided, okay, I know what the problem is. Now I have to find somebody else who can help me navigate through the solution. I equated it to, like, when you're getting back into physical fitness and you want to get healthy, I think a lot of people reach a point where they're plateaued and they need help from somebody to have a breakthrough again.
Right.
So that's pretty much where I was. I had reached the level of breakthrough that I could have on my own, but to really make that next big leap, I needed the help of a professional.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to step out and say to someone that you need help. So congratulations to you for doing that.
Thanks.
It's been worthwhile, hasn't it?
It has been. It's been priceless. You know, I mean, you hate to spend money. I hate to spend money, but I knew that there was just no way I was going to be able to make. I tried reading books. You know, once I figured out the root of my problem, I tried reading books. I knew I needed to talk to somebody. I needed really in-depth help.
Good for you. I'm glad to hear that, and I just want to say thank you for opening up and sharing that story, because sometimes it's hard to relive those painful moments, but these reviews help us to remember that continuous drive and motivation are consistently needed to help us to move forward, and you took that challenge and you succeeded at it.
Thanks.
Well, what I want to do now, Winnie, is to go to the other end of the spectrum. And let's talk about a time in your journey when you had an aha moment, when you became aware of the path that you wanted to travel. So take us to that moment when you had the light bulb go off, and take us through the steps that you took to turn that idea into success.
Well, that's a great question, and it's connected to the same failure. It was connected to it, and as I came out of that struggle, then I had the big aha. And, you know, this is really awful to admit, but it's the truth. So I was in serious debt. I won't tell you how much, but it was bad. And I had wasted more money than I cared to admit. And this was all connected to this struggle that I was in. You know, I was looking for an answer outside of myself. So I would pay anybody for, you know, a webinar, some tool, whatever, because that would fix me, right? When the answer was really within, and that's why I needed to address those issues. So the last straw for me was I paid $6,000 to a sales guru to go through this coaching program with her, because I was sure that it was a sales problem. It wasn't with me. So this was just before I had I had a breakdown. That's really what I tell people. It was a breakdown. And so the aha was that I was looking for this to fix my sales problem. I was looking for the answer to be outside of me, that it was some kind of, you know, maybe it was a skill that I was missing or something I wasn't saying, but I didn't want to believe that it was really a much deeper issue, and that, you know, that it was inside of me. So she was adamant that I had to sell, and that I had to sell in a certain way. I had to sell in her way in order to make my business work. And at the same time, I was doing all of this emotional work. I had finished the therapy that I had gone through with my therapist. But I was still reading a lot of books, because I'm a big believer in self-help books.
Right.
So I was reading a book titled What You Can Change and What You Can't. And it was written by Martin Seligman, who is the head of the Department of Positive Psychology at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. He was at one point the president of the American Psychological Association. So this guy, he knows what he's doing. He's brilliant. So as I was reading this book, I came to see that what I really needed to change wasn't me. I didn't need to be fixed. Right? Not that we can't improve our skills, and not that we don't need to change our behavior, but we are who we are at our very core.
Yes.
And what I came to realize was that her way of selling was never going to work for me. Because
Okay.
I'm not her.
Right. Right.
So what I needed to do was I needed to construct a business model that worked for who I am.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I believed that I wouldn't have to sell if I could position myself very, very clearly. And that if I could stand out to the right audience,
Right.
that I would attract them and that they would be ready to say yes.
Good. That sounds like a good plan.
Thanks. So it was tied in with the launch of my show. So within 3 weeks of launching the podcast, I had people come to me asking me to teach them how to put on the same kind of show, an educational based show.
How incredible. That's really fortunate that you had the wisdom to look at that it wasn't you, it was somebody else's methodology that wasn't
Thanks.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very astute.
Thanks.
Good for you.
Thank
Because you have been successful with your ongoing progress here.
Right.
That's how I found you too.
Thank you. Yes, it
wow.
is. It is actually. Yes, we connected. I was doing a live stream on Blab.
Right.
And yeah, and I remember you were in the audience.
And I was very impressed. I was impressed just because you were able to be on live stream. To me, that takes a lot of courage. And I would lurk in the audiences, but I didn't ever go live. So that's another big step that you get kudos for.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, Winnie, now I'm going to ask you to bring us to the present time and to share your proudest entrepreneurial moment.
Well, surviving is one pretty proud entrepreneurial moment. So, because so many businesses just fail and people just give up.
Right.
So, just to survive, I think, is something to be proud of. But the launch of my show was something that I was very proud of, because a lot of people say, oh, I want to start a podcast. And
Right.
A lot of people think that they're going to start a show that is profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And is profitable quickly. And you know how tough it is to
Yes.
run a show, period, and then make a show generate revenue for you, let
Right.
alone generate a profit. So to have my show launch as effectively as it did, and to be as well received as it has been, and then to have it do just what I theoretically had wanted, that it would attract customers to me.
Right.
And it did it quicker, faster than I thought it would. So I'm really probably most proud of that.
Oh, that is just so exciting, because I know what a struggle it is to do all those things that you set out to do, and you've accomplished it. So I'm really proud of you for that. And it's good to hear that you know what a big success that is. That's important,
Thank you.
I think. I know it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
And Winnie, people want to hear the stories like yours, how you're making your business success and how your business helps individuals connect with each other and within themselves to make a better lifestyle. So would you tell us one thing that is really exciting you in your business right now?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm excited every day. Whenever we get new listeners, I'm always thrilled. So, and I say we because whenever I get somebody to join or the show's Facebook group, that's exciting to me. I am most excited about, though, the future for the show and for the folks who connect with it, because it really is a skill. I'm not teaching somebody how to do the tech, but I'm giving them enough information that they can at least get their confidence increased. And I think that's a big part of what holds people back, is
Yes.
this issue of being confident about choosing the right technology, about, can I learn this? Can I manage this? Can I hire someone to do it for me and manage them effectively? So I'm excited about the thought of what confidently using technology can do for the audience. That excites me.
Well, I can see why that would excite you, because There are people that are so hesitant to step out into new adventures because they're afraid of the technology, and it really can be overwhelming. But if you have someone like you to guide them, then they have a better chance at it.
Thanks. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. So one of the things that that I'm going to be doing in 2017, and of course I'm prepping for that now, is I'm going to be offering more in-depth training into the topics that we cover on this
good.
show. So, for example, let's just say using video to market your business. I'm planning an event that will have multiple speakers who will provide some more in-depth training into that individual topic. So I'll be going through and looking at what are the most popular downloaded episodes. So what's the content that people really want to experience? And then those will be among the first mini conferences that I put together.
Right. It sounds like a good platform.
Thanks.
And a good program.
Thank you.
So what is the best business advice that you ever received?
Never give up. That's really it. Never give up. You know, but at the same time, while that's the best business advice, I think that there are times when you do have to get rid of an idea.
Oh.
You know, so I think never give up is still the best advice I've ever gotten and that I could ever give. But then it's coupled with, that doesn't mean you have to never give up what you're doing right now.
Okay.
You know, because I think recognizing that what you're doing isn't working and isn't bringing you joy, because I think being happy is part of the profitability equation.
Oh, I like that.
So and I was building something that I was completely unhappy with. I just didn't enjoy any of it.
Oh my, yeah.
And so that was just a big emotional mess. And then when I had that epiphany and I was able to make that shift into, okay, well, what do I want? I'm a teacher at heart. That's what I tell everybody.
Right.
And so I knew then that whatever I did had to really involve embracing what I see as my best gifts and letting go of the stuff that I just can't do.
Right.
And don't want to do.
Right. That's a very healthy attitude to have. That's what makes you successful.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, what is the vision of the future of your business?
It's pretty bright. And it's all centered around sharing information and educational events. So I have 3 different books I'm working on, actually.
Wow.
So we'll see which one gets done first. Then I'm expanding the training courses and events that I'm offering. And so my whole business model and business is built on creating information that educates other people and just continuing to move forward with that.
Wow, that's very powerful. Well, Winnie, can you share one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success?
I can. Prayer.
All right. Okay. That's a powerful one and the best one that we could ever turn to, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe that too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, do you have an internet resource to share with our listeners that helps with your efficiency, like Evernote and Storytellers? You will find the links to these sites in the show notes of today's episode at bizstoryshare.com/Winnie Anderson.
Actually, I have my own. So I will give you a link to
okay.
That, and you are welcome to share it with your, people can download it if they would like. And then I also use OneNote, which I've shared with you, which is Microsoft's version of Evernote. And I just like it just because, it's free and it comes in my Office 365 package. So,
right.
So it's probably the best way. I do so much research. I need some tool to help me stay organized with my research. But
Absolutely.
the document that I'll share with you is a PDF of a calendar that I created for myself. I don't like online scheduling tools.
Okay.
Because I'm very visual. So if I if I put something in my online calendar, well, I only have to write it down anyway, or I won't remember it.
Right.
So, because I have a head injury from a car accident, and that's one of the little quirks, is that now I'm very visual, and if I don't see it, I forget it. So because I have so many projects that I'm managing, I created my own calendar to stay on top of them. So I'll share that with your audience.
Oh, how wonderful. Oh, I look forward to that. That's great. Thank you for that's very generous of you.
You're welcome.
Well, would you describe for us who are perfect referrals for your business? And by that I mean business associates or clients that the listeners know who would benefit from doing business with you.
If you know anyone who is a business owner or would like to be a business owner, and they are confused, frustrated, and overwhelmed by technology, the best thing to do is to share the show with them. And it's the letstalktechshow.com. So
all right.
You can listen to every episode right on the show's website. You don't have to go anyplace else. And the episodes are there for instant play, and they're also there for download. So if you would like to download and save them for later, you can do that too.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Well, if you could recommend just one book to our listeners, what would it be?
That book that meant so much to me. And it's called What You Can Change and What You Can't by Martin Seligman.
And were you surprised at the information contained in the book about the things that you can't change?
I was, because as a person whose background is in education and human resources, we're conditioned as professionals in those professions to believe that people can change anything.
Yes.
And that's not true. It's psychologically not true. So, which is, is just, wow, it's mind blowing.
That is.
And you don't want to receive that information and be depressed by it. You want to receive that information and say, like Popeye, I am who I am, and I need to be comfortable and accepting of who I am. Then recognize what I can change and leverage that.
Okay. Yes, that sounds very wise. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Well, Winnie, I have truly enjoyed listening to your journey and the stories that you've shared. So will you please share one more time how we can get in touch with you and any other resources that you want us to have, and then we'll say goodbye.
Absolutely. You can go to theletstalktechshow.com. And that is the show's website. There is, there's a giveaway there of free information. If you are a business owner right now, the giveaway could change at any point. So I don't want to say something specific, but when you become a fan of the show, then you get every free giveaway I've ever had.
Oh, wonderful.
So you just get them to you every few days. So that's probably the best way to receive everything without having to opt in every single time. So it's theletstalktechshow.com.
All right.
And of course, I'm all over social media, so you can find me on Facebook. But finding me through the show's site is probably the easiest and best thing to do.
All right. And I will have that in the show notes. So listeners,
awesome.
You can find links to these resources and everything that we've been chatting about in today's episode by going to bizstoryshare.com/Winnie Anderson. And Winnie, thank you again for sharing your information and your great, powerful stories.
Thanks. You're welcome.
So for now, goodbye.
Give the storyteller some love. Go to bizstoryshare.com, click on the iTunes button, and give a 5-star review. Thanks.